Three Sissies and a Girl is a Plato and Rodan production. Episodes contain explicit language and may discuss subjects that are sensitive to some listeners. See the show notes for details. Three Sissies and a Girl starts now.
Oh, record, pop up a fag. Then I smoked a cigarette. Sorry, obsolete.
What? That's a British slang term.
I know what it is.
Oh, I was thrown off. I was like,
oh, I know. No, I knew what it was. I was just trying to think of a response. Yeah, and the proper response is Hannah.
Nana.
So, what? Are you having a heart attack? What's going on over there? Would your watch tell you? Like your watch tell you take your medicine?
It was my
yeah.
No, don't fucking.
I think that sounded like metal.
It was.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Fucking Italians were so fucking
Just
super thick.
we are.
Wow. Lit. Yeah, he's knocking on all the wood. Just he's like, yeah.
When no wood's around, I do this.
So
What are we saying?
we're talking about Harlem Nights.
Man, so you did show me the alley scene.
Oh, before I've showed it.
Yeah, back before I ever watched it. This is my first time watching it all the way through. And I was thinking of you whenever the alley scene was going down.
He was
So funny.
in the same. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about wood. At a 5-knuckle wood shovel.
I'm pulling it up now. I'm tired.
So,
It's going to be so fucking lost because we're posting this one first. You guys know that, right?
yeah. Well, they'll just have to stay tuned to figure out when the hell we're talking about.
You got to watch both episodes.
We're like, yeah.
John Cena 5-knuckle shuffle.
Oh, I don't want to see that, dude. Do you have Safe Search on? Make sure you have Safe Search on. You can't. Yeah. No, I don't want to see it. If Safe Search isn't on. Of course it's 15 seconds. I mean, when you're doing it yourself, it doesn't take that long.
Same search is on.
Yeah.
I want you to look what it's. All right. I want Garrett to read. What is it? What does the video say?
It looks like two half-naked dudes shuffling.
We're going to watch it again.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's two half-naked dudes. Yeah, I see his hand. He's
You
yeah,
can't see me.
yeah. You can't see me on him. I got a 5-knuckle shuckle for you later, baby.
Boom. Okay. That's it. That's the signet. Look.
Oh yeah, whatever you saying. It makes him happy that two half-naked men are during the struggle snuggle with the.
He's going to jerk him off with.
That's it. That's all it is.
So I guess
Yeah.
everybody he hit the 5-knuckle shuffle with.
He 5-knuckle shuckle for them either. Yeah.
The 5-knuckle shuffle. He
There ain't nothing. Listen, there is nothing wrong. I want you to understand that we're okay. Look,
y'all did spend a long week in New Orleans.
6 weeks, Bubba.
6 weeks. I was thinking of the one where y'all were stuck for Mardi Gras.
Oh, that was a week.
That was
we
that's what I
weren't
was
stuck.
talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all did spend like 2 months down there.
Mardi Gras. Yeah, we have actually spent. Yeah, about 2 months. Living together.
Yeah. I heard you snore.
Probably do. Somebody told me I was talky.
That wasn't me. I didn't tell you that. yeah. I pass out. I pass out before he does.
Yeah.
So I chose Harlem Nights, 1987. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Della Reese, some great other minor comedians in roles. Arsenio Hall, the Charlie Murphy, the late great Robin Harris, Bebe's Kids. Yeah, I said Red Fox. Yeah, he was at that. This movie was an old favorite of mine, and it was a favorite of my dad's. We used to watch it together anytime it came. I know that this is one of those rare movies that even though I've seen a movie and I say, like, I know I've saw that movie, but I guess I've never actually watched it from start to finish. This one I have watched from start to finish. Countless times. It is hard for me to watch it with someone and not shout out I know the dialogue. To this day, know the dialogue before it happens.
That's great quotes.
It has some of the best, funniest lines in it. And let me give some background and history to this movie because I've never understood. I think this probably killed Eddie Murphy's directing career. That's just me, just kind of a note, like he did this and he did one other and he's never, wrote and directed this. It is, but I think it really screwed it because it did not do well. And let me tell you why. I've tried to figure out why this movie, and again, this was my dad and I's favorite. We saw it in the movies because he was my dad loved comedy, loved stand-up comedy. He was Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Red Fox, George Carlin, those guys never missed specials. So if those guys did a movie, Eddie Murphy did a movie, we went to the theater, saw it. I mean, Golden Child didn't matter. And we saw Harlem Nights twice in the theater. It was that good for us. And then bought it immediately on VHS. I had since bought it on DVD twice now because I didn't know where the original was. I think I actually still do have the original. I just have to go through my deal. And then, of course, bought it. Found it in the Walmart bin with 3 other Eddie Murphy movies. And I was like, I got to buy this again because Matt's too cheap and to rent it. And so I'll give it to him. But this movie did not, the critics fucking shit all over it. The audiences, it made money.
Yeah.
Made money.
60 million.
Yeah, it made money. It made money.
Which you call that a flop if it made.
It wasn't a flop. Right. It wasn't a box office. Yeah.
Same thing though. People were calling it a flop.
Yeah, it wasn't a flop because it actually made money. But word of mouth got us. Better than Funny Face did. Yeah, and so I was reading the Black Twitter, right? And comments about Harlem Nights on Black Twitter, like all the people that were talking. And there was a guy that said, I've never met a white guy that loves this movie. And I was like, here's your first, buddy. Because this is one of my favorite movies. And so I started reading about it and in 1987, man, like it blows my mind to think about it. But then I go, well, I guess, my school was only, 7 years post segregation or, desegregation type stuff. So it wasn't that, long. But anyway, they basically got hate because it was way ahead of its time in that all the people of color are the heroes of the film. There is not a white savior in the entire film. They get themselves out of the predicament. They have 2 white guys that help them, but they are minor characters, and they're hired. They're hired guys. Like they hire them to work for them, so they're the bosses. And people lost their fucking minds back then when this happened. They lost their minds that this was an entirely black cast and that all the bad guys were white people. And that just blew my mind to read that that's why this movie didn't do well.
What's the critics said that?
Well, that was the other note I made, that the language turned people off. And it didn't turn off the black community because that's the way that Red Fox and Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy spoke. That's how that was how they fucking talked. And so you're going to make a movie with them and not expect them to use their language. Who gives a shit if it's not?
If you go back and look at any of the movies that were done by gangsters, white or Italian or whatever, they're all just profane. The language is just as bad. Yes. So, yeah. That's ridiculous to even say that. It's just that these were black comedians. Never out there at a time.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, fuck. I got to comment with that. I ain't gonna watch it. That's all.
It's so stupid. I like and listen, I know there were a few, and we'll get into them, obviously. There were a few little problems still with me, but I was pleasantly, for me at least, until Hannah shits on it for me here in a minute and ruins it. I was actually pleasantly surprised that the movie wasn't ruined for me, that it held up almost. Everything held up almost. There was a couple of things that they had issues with that we'll talk about, but right off the top of the bat, when you have Richard Pryor was famously raised in a brothel. It's part of his upbringing. It's part of his story. So and he would have been like probably Eddie Murphy's character's age because he grew up in the 30s, in the 30s, he grew up in brothel. So him playing this, Sugar Ray, and the kid comes in and all the shit, was it was really, he was kind of reminiscent of him playing a character of people. Like those were people that he knew, right? Like those characters in that speakeasy and stuff were characters that Richard Pryor would have grown up around. And I just thought the kid that played the young, I meant to look him up and I forgot to look up the guy that plays young Quick, kid that plays him, because he was amazing. Like that whole scene was great.
Even with Richard Pryor, he was like,
yeah. He was so good. So they were talking. So if you, I put a note that I was like, God, I miss Richard Pryor. He had such great delivery. I mean, like as an actor, you talk about like, and I do believe this. I think you either have comedic timing or you don't have comedic timing, because you have to understand comedic timing to have it.
young quick.
What?
Desi Arnaz and
Shut the hell up. Was he like one of Desi Arnaz's grandkids or something?
Desi Arnaz Hines II was born on 21st January 1980, Los Angeles County. He is an actor known for Boys of a Hood, House Party, and Harlem Nights.
What?
Yeah, House Party. He played Peanut in House Party. Trey.
I wonder if they just were big fans of Desi Arnaz and that, but that's Desi Arnaz Hines II. Let me look this out. I'd say, somebody asked,
But yeah,
oh, it's spelled different. So Desi Arnaz and Desi Arnaz is the kids. The kids, Desi Ar, maybe, I don't think, no, it's the fucking internet. They don't know what they're talking about. Oh, yeah. So, there was
But then he shoots her.
well, he has to. He's going to keep waiting have to because she didn't have any bullets. But
yeah, but
that's the principle. You gonna fuck me and shoot me?
I could not, let's talk about this.
Yeah, I shot. I killed her. Oh, you?
Yeah, tore the pussy up, huh? Yeah. No, I shot her. Yeah. And it's Richard Pryor's delivery. You look at his face, he has this kind of like, wasn't that bad? And his mannerisms are so fucking God. He's so, but I got two thoughts of that since we're jumping to there. The one thing I was going to say about Richard Pryor and his delivery and comedic time and all that stuff, he was understated, and they read an article that was like, that was the beginning of his MS diagnosis. So he brought himself down because he couldn't get himself up because he was starting to feel the effects of the MS. So it actually brought his performance like down. I found that really interesting. And the other thing I found interesting, and I couldn't find this, but I swear it's a Mandela effect thing, or I know what I'm talking about when I say this, because I know I can't find anything about it because he fucked up so much shit that if you Google Bill Cosby and Jasmine Guy, all it is talks about how she was disappointed in, his latest stuff because he was good to her back then. But here's the funny part. This is the thing that I remember about this movie is that she was the hot item back in 1987, where she was on A Different World. She was the star of Different World because Lisa Bonet had left, and she was, gorgeous. Yeah. She's still very pretty. Yeah, I saw her and when I was looking her up, I saw her in a thing. She's very pretty still, and she's like 60. But I remember reading or saying something back then that because it was Eddie Murphy and, Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby kind of famously did not get along because Bill Cosby was a clean comedian and Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy were so, not clean. And Eddie Murphy's got a famous joke where he goes, "Hey man, Bill Cosby called me and told me that I need to stop cussing so much in my act. And what should I tell him? Well, tell Bill I said have a Coca smile and shut the fuck up." So it's ironic. So Jasmine Guy goes to Bill Cosby like, I go do this movie and it's a big opportunity for her. At the time is just my emails coming through. It was a big opportunity at the time. And, can I do this movie? And he was like, basically like, well, you should do it, but you can't be naked, and you can't have them putting pudding pops in you. Yeah. Yeah. And then goes back. That was Bill Cosby. That was because he didn't want her doing the boom boom in the room. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's
But let's talk about this for a second, because like, so think about this. You are talking about a guy. This is just mind blowing to me when you look back on the history. You're talking about a dude who is a sexual predator who took agency away from a fucking actress just because he happened to be the executive producer on a show that she was on.
That's crazy.
And he was a sexual predator and took basically sexual agency over another woman. Like, how it's so fucking problematic on so many levels. It's problematic to begin with, but it's really problematic when you look back at his history.
Years later, it aged really bad.
Yeah, it ages terribly. America's Dad was looking out for a lot of shit, and that wasn't it. So the music in this was done by Herbie Hancock. That's so great.
Duke Ellington interspersed through it too.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously when he's drawing,
Satchmo, because everybody knows that.
obviously he drew from the era, and all the music from the era when he was putting this stuff.
Hell, was that called Satchmo? Life. That's called. I wish that.
Oh man, yeah, that was. So
That's not true.
So are you guys done having like a little like?
oh yeah, you want to shit on the movie for us a little bit? I mean, I still have a lot of great stuff in here, but. All right, let's see. Let me see. All right, let me just see. Let me rate before you ruin the movie or try to ruin it. Let's see. Rob Harris, Baby Kids. We did that. Great Black Comedians. We did that. I'll talk about that later. Okay, I said that right there. Yeah. Yeah. And so
We do the Oscars like right now. This would win a lot. Eddie Murphy would get my best actor.
Oh no, would give.
I just love Eddie Murphy. I just want to throw up something.
Did anyone catch in the back alley fight scene when Bear pulls out her razor that there is a tiny glimpse of the music from Jaws and from Psycho?
yes.
I caught the Jaws.
I don't know. I was so busy listening to. Oh yeah, go on. Now I got it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Wow. I hear that every time when he does the punch too. I go, wow. Yeah. Every time when she's not.
It's really
Yeah. Now I got to cut you. Oh my God, I love her so much.
She's an ordained minister, right?
really.
Yeah, right after this, she did well, she was a gospel singer before this. She used to do gospel with Tennessee Ernie Ford. I was like, let's say Tennessee Ernie Williams, but it's Tennessee Ernie Ford. My parents had those records. I remember seeing those Tennessee Ernie Ford records, and there was one with Della Reese. And what is that? Where's that? Yeah.
What was
The point is six. You blind motherfucker.
Are you done yet?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Come back to all the.
We'll
good
come back
shit.
to the good shit. I'll save it. I'll love bomb you. I'll love bomb you with some good shit.
Yeah. So we'll just.
Yeah.
Love bombing is not a good thing, but we'll just leave that one where it is.
Wow. No, I'm not. She's fucking me so bad today. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm done.
Not in it today. You can tell.
No, you're in it. You are completely in it. I'm the one that's off. Yeah.
Go to and I showed up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Go ahead.
Continue. What?
The entire premise of this takes a lot of really misogynistic pokes and prods at
Oh, yeah. Very true.
very much an accessory and only feature as either sex workers, distractions, tropey girlfriends. They make fun of characters with disabilities, speech impediments, blindness,
Yeah.
people who are overweight.
Oh.
All of these characters, all of these diverse.
All the
Yeah.
white people made fun of the disability guy. The black people went, oh, okay, yeah, oh yeah, champ. They were good.
And we had Terry and I talked a little about this. Yeah.
That's just setting up how evil we white people are. What you getting?
I understand your point. However, women
Yeah.
are still treated as an accessory
Yeah.
through the entire film.
No, you are right about that.
This film horribly fails the Bechdel test.
Yeah, no, 100%.
They make fun of how many times Vera gets called a bitch.
Oh, no. No. No, that's what I was going to say. I think the only exception, I mean,
They make fun of her for being overweight. There is a fuck ton of body shaming.
Yeah, no, I know that, and I did feel kind of bad about that one. That's the body. I did. No, I did. I went. That the body shaming shit didn't age well.
No, absolutely. Everything you're saying is spot on.
Yeah, like he's like. Well, I mean, like, but it.
Yeah, but the problem is that the bits that they're taking are not focused. There's no focus for those bits. It's basically Eddie Murphy's routine without any charm.
Well, he's punching down. I mean, they're punching down on a lot of them for sure. But what I was going to say is the only thing I would push back a little bit, I agree with you about all the secondary, I mean, obviously, Jasmine, but I feel like that Della Reese's character, outside of them giving her shit and about the weight and stuff like that, I feel like I kind of agree with Terry in that, like, she's a much stronger character. I don't think she's not an accessory. I mean, she's the brunt of a joke, but she's intricately involved in the plan. They could not have done it without her. She was certainly a part of the inner circle. And she was involved in the decision-making process and basically held a seat at the council. So I agree with you on everybody else, but I think that her herself as a character was a pretty good representation of yeah. I agree with the other stuff. All the women, totally. You're right.
The women, and like I said, he's going back to a time, gangster, whatever, 1938 women were looked as arm candy, whatever. But yeah, she had her own station. She knew what she.
But that's the only
in it. She ran her girls.
Yeah.
My girls don't steal, and neither do I. And you blind motherfucker. I mean, she gave back just as much as they gave her.
Yeah.
She had definite strength. Though.
There are some like modern updates, I will say, but like this is such a trite plot. This plot has been done since 1938 over and over and over again, and they don't do it well in this movie. The pacing is too frenetic. It's all over the place. You were with me when I watched it.
Yeah.
I was completely disengaged. I was bored. I got bored halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I think...
started doing my taxes. That's how bored I was.
I think that...
Sorry about you.
No.
It's just
I can...
the fact of it.
No, listen. It's not for everybody. Everybody's got time their own opinion. It doesn't make me love this movie any less. The one thing I would say a little bit about what you're saying about the story was done, but they've, again, I think that, and it was where this movie was ahead of its time was because it wasn't what they didn't do. It was basically a black exploitation flick without the black exploitation part of it, right? Like, so you had a few characters that were like again, and we talked about this and agree wholeheartedly that like the one bit I would lose entirely if I were to remake this movie would be the boxer, the CTE bit with the boxer and him. Him with the stutter and obviously, like, you know, this guy fucking 33 rounds back then when you did championship rounds, you just did it until somebody like fucking, that big dude. Yeah. That just has a flat, them livers can take it. So while I see, you're right, it's been done, but I don't think it's never been done in a way where it was like, this is the first time I feel like it was a black cast. Yeah. And
I will give you that.
And
I usually have Italians, Irish, all them fighting each other but now you have granted, they're moving because like Richard Pryor say, we're not gangsters.
Yeah.
Club.
Yeah.
This guy will fucking kill you.
Yeah.
So they're leaving regardless, but they're making a plan to get their money so they can get out. So yeah, it's been done. There's, it's a little different take, the heist and everything. It's all been done, but they just kind of added it here and there. But it was one that, champion black people.
Yeah. So I think that's a great segue to kind of the deep dive that I took. And I sent this article to Garrett because I wanted him to read it. Because I think it's important. There's, his name is Johnny Hobbs. and he took the influence and the idea of the Bechdel test, and he consolidated it down to what he calls the Hobbes test, which he's naming after himself, which I think is perfectly okay because he's the one who came up with this idea. So he's setting out to establish characters of color as fully realized individuals and fully realized films. So he sets this first test, which is, are there two named characters of color? Do they have dialogue? Are they not romantically involved with one another? Do they have any dialogue that isn't comforting or supporting a white character? And is one of them not magic? And so for all of those criteria, this test passes. He creates a secondary test that he calls the Black Period test. And this one actually passes, and there's a lot of films that actually don't. So the criteria for that one are a fictitious period piece with a predominantly all-black cast, at least 85 to 90%, which, check.
Yeah.
There cannot be constant or looming reminders of racial oppression that hang over the characters. Again, it doesn't do anything with that. It just leaves that directly where it is. It lets you know this is an entirely black cast, and it doesn't make any mention of, like, racial politics. It kind of alludes to it with the white characters being as evil as they are.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, there's no, like, seeking racial equality or acts of violence at the hands of white people is at the main focal point here. There's no teaching or caretaking of a white person. They're like, no, these guys are fucking terrible. Look at them. Like,
yeah, that's why I said, too, the no white savior thing I was talking about earlier.
There's no, like, protection of white feelings.
Yeah.
And then the story isn't a biopic.
Biopic. Yep.
Yeah. It's not a remake, and it's not a retelling of previous works of an all-white cast. But the most interesting thing was he did a breakdown and thought was so fascinating. So he took a look at all of the Academy Award nominees from 1980 to 2020. And he looked at all of the period films nominated for either Best Picture, Actress, Actor, Supporting Actress, or Supporting Actor. And there were 272 films in that, was that a 40-year span, 80 to 2020? You want to take a guess at how many of those period works had a predominantly black cast that were nominated in those categories?
1.
No, a little higher.
4.
I like.
We were heads up, but yeah.
I can think of, like, The Color Purple. Maybe 5, 2, maybe. I don't know if that was a predominantly black cast.
10?
But yeah.
17.
Oh, wow.
17 out of 272. Any guesses on how many of those were fiction and not biopics or remakes?
Oh.
Probably a small, I would think. Right?
3.
1. Just because it seems like that's kind
Of those 17.
How many were fiction and not a biopic or a remake?
Like completely new works by themselves. 3.
6 of them. And how many of them passed the test? 4. Wow. From 1980 to 2020, 4 of them passed the test. The Color Purple, which you already mentioned, which is directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
August Wilson's Fences.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Denzel.
Precious, directed by Lee Daniels.
Precious Forever, that one. Yeah.
And Dreamgirls, directed by Bill Condon.
Eddie Murphy was in that as well. Wow. That's wild. That when you said it,
I didn't put it together.
yeah.
And he was fighting the big guy wanting the cornbread.
Yeah.
Look, that gets harder than you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
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 And he moved, from Del Reese. Also did Pryor's autobiography, Pryor Convictions.
Yeah, I read that.
Pryor states that he never connected to Eddie Murphy. People talked about how my work had influenced Eddie, and perhaps it did, but I always thought Eddie's comedy was mean. I used to say, Eddie, be a little nice. And that would piss him off. I finished Harlem Nights thinking that.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like the other part I read when I read that same article was the fact that, and you can see it every time the three of them were on screen together. Della, Red, and Richard Pryor all came up kind of in the same like Chitlin circuit and all that stuff together, right? And like, so they knew each other, long, old friends, and you could see it every time the three of them were together. It just fucking sang, and it was just the three of them just riffing. I mean, it was absolutely incredible to watch those three.
I wondered how much of this was ad-libbed.
Oh,
Takes were funnier.
Yeah.
I did behind.
Yeah, I remember them saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were telling Eddie to go apologize after
Yeah.
him and Richard Pryor just going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she's a sweet lady.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my mouth ready for more orange juice. Fuck you. You really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. That whole, all of that was so good.
Just because those.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Just, they were able to ease. Yeah. Basically, the three of them were able to have a conversation with each other, totally not including Eddie Murphy into the conversation, in a different room, and everything is like singing. Yeah. That excellent point. Like,
Is the thing that drags this film down.
yeah. 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 And let me tell you though, and this is the reason why it is, and I know this from personal experience, not a different time. It's really fucking hard to direct and be the star of a movie in your very first ever fucking thing. Like
To the story.
yeah, yeah. And he had some really interesting shots in this too. Like he had some cool, see, like the one I kind of made note of was the one where Arsenio Hall, the crying man, fuck you, Quick. And he's like on the ground dying. That's a great, and Quick is running off. Such a cool cinematic shot with the, yeah.
Your plot points that are not believable.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, both of these films, when you talk about Funny Face and Harlem Nights, they're both, like, from a cinema point of view, like, they're beautifully shot. Like, whoever their DPs on these were great. But the plots leave so much to be desired.
Yeah, but
He said, yeah, but... Sorry, what's a movie without a plot? Fucking Harlem Nights. Sorry about you.
Harlem Nights had a plot.
Yeah,
They were true.
yeah.
Technically, so did Funny Face, but they're both full of holes.
100%. I'm not saying it, but they had to throw Arsenio in because he was, Arsenio was great.
I did. You know what was funny about that? What's funny about it is that really was one of those things. When I watched that scene, I went, "Oh man, they put this in it was so. It didn't have to be in, but it's a great standalone. Yeah, it's a great little standalone piece. And Arsenio on the crying bit. Okay, you motherfucker. Okay. Oh, you made me shoot it. You made me shoot it. Yeah. Yeah. Take that little shit out. What the fuck is this little shit? Stop it. That little fucking shit. Yeah, it's a funny bit, great bit, but like it was, I see what she's saying about, yeah. Yeah, they tried. Yeah.
Then he goes, I'm still trying to work it out. See?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work it out. Then later on, when he talked to him, he said, yeah, they tried to kill me twice.
Yeah.
One time. So they put it into
Yeah.
set him up. They tried to kill me here, and then Jasper Guy tries to kill me. I think they're trying to they got to hide him after he killed him.
Yeah.
So they kept it, they kept it into the plot where them trying to kill him was still part of it, but it could have went without it. They could have just said, yeah, and so, or whatever, Miss LaRue could try.
Dominique. Got that voodoo shit.
That everything good as bored.
Nothing looking better now, right?
A lot better. Damn, Bill Cosby.
If she would have wanted to be, that was the whole thing. Like, she's like, yeah, there was there was a couple of spots where I was like, oh yeah, I guess they just put that there for this thing. But one thing I did like about Sugar Ray's character, Richard Pryor's character, is just how pragmatic he was.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Because everything he said.
And you said something like, if you kill,
He said, it doesn't matter how many you kill, who you kill. That's what he went, and he walked off, and he think it's a kill. Which, it is true to a point. You kill the main person.
Yeah. Yeah. It matters who you kill.
It's always better when you don't. But he was just, he had the own wisdom, and then you had the young hothead, his son that he raised.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was the best part one of the best parts was his just being very pragmatic about the
Yeah.
just, look, guys, we can't.
The other thing too, I thought when I watch this, and kind of, have those same things of like, oh man, there's some exploitation here of the women, and you kind of like, but however, well, it's just about that's who I'm going to talk about. So, yep, she was an accessory. Yep, Savi's bar, and they kind of like forced the sex work on her, like to say like, hey, you have to go sleep with this guy. So it wasn't like she really didn't have a choice, right? However, it kind of goes, the one note I made is the reason why that the honeypot trap works is because we're fucking stupid. We are blind when it comes to that kind of shit. Like just, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're like, oh yeah, yeah, we're just dumb. Like, just, yeah. When he said sunshine, you're like, got to give me some of that. Like every dude, yeah, is like, Sugar Ray's like, I don't want to meet her. Yeah, I do. I was like, yeah, I kind of like Sugar Ray. I don't want it. That's like the last thing I need to meet is so, because I don't want it. Yeah, no, yeah, it's like. But it works because guys are stupid, and it's still one of my favorite bits is, hey babe, this is Richie. Yeah, listen, I never coming home no more. Click, and then he cries, but he's not crying over the fact he just, he's crying because she told him that she was falling in love with him and that she had held back like from him, and he was like, oh my God, like, oh, that was like, So while I do see, Anna's boy, but also it goes back to turn around just how fucking stupid guys are, and just, oh, Richie, dumbass, like Lady Heroin. Lady Heroin. Oh my God.
I mean, among all of the problems with like the agency and the sex work in this, though, you do know that the backdrop of this was Eddie Murphy got sued for $75 million.
No, I didn't. For what? What was I didn't do. Because he sexually assaulted someone on set?
She lost the lawsuit, by the way.
Who was it? Was it one of the actresses? Jesus.
An unnamed actress in the film sued Eddie Murphy for $75 for alleged sexual harassment. The suit was unsuccessful.
Oh, sexual harassment. Well, I know, but unwanted. I know.
If you really want to pick at that thread, then sure, but I mean.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying, but I was just wanting to know like more details. Well, I mean, if it was 1988 or whatever, I mean,
courts have not been great.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, no, it's the burden of
present days.
Yeah, the burden of proof is like it's too high, right? So, Jesus. Well, I still love the fucking movie. So,
despite that it gets panned in basically every.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's won like how many golden raspberries and like worst pictures and.
But it was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Costumes. There you go. That was great.
Yeah, because it's basically.
It was some great suits.
So okay, so I to your point, I will to be fair to your point there. I will say this about the movie as a movie itself. I read a few things that I do agree with this. Again, does not make it less enjoyable to me. I actually like the frenetic pace of the movie because it never, for me, I know you got bored when we were watching it, but for me, it never drags. And I've seen it 1,000 times. It's fast. Like it's like, yeah, you go from one.
I was entertained the whole time. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I liked it.
Yeah, it's
funny. I think it's a bunch of comedians got together, made this movie, and yeah, I mean, no, I get that. Like, I get it.
No, there was one. I can't remember the line. I wish I remember. There was one. No, she did. She had one chuckle, but I don't remember what the line was. But I thought. But I thought it was. I thought it was whatever it was. Did peak? I went, oh. Interesting. That was interesting. That was an interesting. Yeah, you go. Oh, that really no.
Me laughing because I can't remember when I laughed, but was it me laughing because I was like, "What the fuck, guys?" Or was it like an actual?
No, it was a joke laugh because I remember and it literally won, and I thought the whole time I was like, "Oh my God, she laughed once during this whole thing," and it wasn't like a laugh. It was a that was like that was
all. You wouldn't watch this again, I take it. No. Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought about watching the end again. Before I came back to you.
yeah. I
Hey, give me the DVD.
yeah, I gave him the DVD.
I'm gonna put it on tonight. Maybe.
Did anyone catch at least that in the opening sequence when Quick is threading his way through Sugar Ray's club, you could hear Vera saying, "Is my entire ass."
Yes, yeah,
At the beginning, just you heard her voice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Kiss my entire ass. Yeah,
I loved how like he took him in. Like he killed that man because he was gonna kill him, and he took care of him his whole life. Caught him quick. He got that quick trigger. His quick trigger.
This movie was also inspired by like real life.
Really?
yes.
2 gangsters, I think. What the,
It was loosely inspired by the real life feud between Jewish gangster Dutch Schultz and black gangster Bumpy Johnson, which
Which was part of the Cotton Club that I talked about earlier. I think that's what it's about too.
it is.
Yeah,
Yes. I actually had just looked up Bumpy Johnson like not too long ago because I had a friend who was talking about hometown murders, and she was talking about Bumpy Johnson, and I was like, I wonder where that name came from, and they think it was because like there's 2 theories. I put theories in quotes here.
you put the right stuff.
No, apparently the back of his head was bumpy, and so that's like maybe where one of them came from. But the other thing was like he bumped off a lot of people.
Well,
But it was over control of Harlem's lucrative numbers gambling rackets in the mid 1930s, and so that.
which is basically like, so those people that don't know what the numbers, the numbers racket, it is a heavy plot point of this film in the end. It's basically like the precursor to lotteries, except it was run by, the mob, and people would buy numbers, and then, you would collect the numbers they would collect the numbers from all over the city, and then they would do their numbers draw, and then whoever, the ticket that won got the lottery money, whatever. But obviously the numbers game is like, if they don't want you to, they don't want somebody to win it, you're not going to win it. But they want their cousin to win it, the cousin's going to win it. So it was like, but it was, and it obviously preyed on the, marginalized populations. And so that's the numbers game. And it was a big racket back in the day, played heavily into this film. Cause that's what, Richin was doing, was picking up numbers. And, she said she was a numbers girl, but she wasn't a number. She didn't pick up numbers. She was picking up heroin because she was Lady Heroin.
16, something like that when this came out. Yeah, I think it was short.
Yeah.
So like this, I'd already memorized.
Yeah.
I used to go to school and do Eddie Murphy's Delirious.
Can you give us an Eddie Murphy impression?
Now
Can
it would be super probably.
If you look right, there's a white plug. Will it plug into that?
you know who does a
Oh, well, you can look behind you where it's plugged into. There's
Somebody says,
Oh no, I know what I can do for you. Pause this for 2 seconds. I have a heavy duty. So where were we before we in our little technical? Oh, you were talking about doing when this came out. Yeah.
shit, that was when it came out. I had memorized Delirious before this, and I'd go to school doing
Yeah.
there, like I was telling you, and I would do I had memorized an hour of Eddie Murphy
Yeah.
school, just old playground.
Yeah.
Kids would be around.
Yeah.
It killed every time.
Yeah.
I used to do Norbit.
Oh my God. That's it. I have that movie. It was in the 4-pack.
It is. Yep.
It's Norbit, Boomerang,
I liberated the Boomerang
Harlem Nights.
VHS tape.
Did you?
When I worked it.
Yes. Yeah.
Watched that all the time. Watched it.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time. I can't remember what the 4th movie was.
It wouldn't be Beverly Hills Cop.
No, it was like, might have been like Bowfinger or something. I only saw it once, but that was the one with Heather.
Those were my favorite. Those when growing up, getting like all of like 4 or 5, whatever.
We didn't have that.
3. No, I remember Blockbuster. I remember getting VHS tapes. We didn't have when I was little, we had VHS.
Yeah, no, because I mean, listen, when my kids were little, we were still doing Blockbuster, so that makes sense. That was odds.
Me and Renner are probably only 4 years,
5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
How old are you? 21?
24.
Yeah, you guys are 4 years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could have, if I'd have had a kid that,
I could have you.
I would have had you had I gotten married and had a kid.
Yeah.
He would be your age.
Be your kid too. Oh yeah, you got a 40-year-old, 30.
That's right. Started early.
I mean, y'all gonna have to be your daughter.
It could be.
I guess in theory, I could be yours as well if you had had like a teenage pregnancy.
Yeah, I would have had to
15.
I would have had to conceive her at 16.
I was 19.
I would have conceived her at 16, or I wouldn't have conceived her. I would have.
Yeah.
No, that's not too bad. Today
Yeah.
you couldn't.
Yeah.
Zafina, you should crack your head open.
Oh,
Oh, my, a bunch of little hairy with triangles. My head cracks open. But it's a film from a thing. Yeah,
I'm 30. I just turned 30.
yeah, definitely. But cause I was 19, my son was born, so 17. You've been the same age. Wow.
did we talk about what?
Did we talk about how the interactions between Red Fox and Della Reese actually inspired another movie?
Yeah.
They a TV series. Yeah, he died. This is why he died on the set, and that's why it got canceled, or why they didn't have it anymore. I think they tried to. He had a heart attack on set. Yeah, I think so. I think
That's a nightmare for me.
it was either a heart attack on set or a heart attack. Well, mine's is very similar, except it's dying in a hotel room alone. Yeah, alone. That's why. That's why we spoon right there. So we just, if one of us dies, at least we don't die alone in a hotel room.
Being alone, yeah, that would.
Sucks. I don't want. That's one of my fears.
Yeah, yeah.
Set someone not on set, but being working. And I'm
Did
at
you-
the road. Next morning?
The whole.
He had answered us all day. Didn't answer the first time to my fucking room.
Listen, there was all kinds of protocols broken that little snafu. Let me tell you, as a former hotelier, I was assholes.
was yeah. But real quick, Jamie Foxx. Did you see that stuff?
What? See what's up?
Like, apparently, I think he had like a stroke or something on set.
I didn't hear what happened. I just heard he had a medical emergency. Is all I heard.
Yeah, he's still in the hospital.
Oh, I thought he. Maybe I don't know. No, I'm not adding shit. I thought that's what I saw. I don't know. No, no, that's why I was trying to see if anybody else said. So I done put my foot in my mouth, which I do frequently. So now I'm gonna look something up.
So according to Matthew, Jamie Foxx.
No, don't put that out there. I don't. I want him to confirm it. I worked it.
A complication.
What you like like that?
Oh, nothing. I literally had three things going on in my mind, and I just happened to be staring in your direction when it happened. Yeah, no, I was thinking about three other things, but it just happened to be looking at you. That was like one of those. There was nothing. The lights were on, but nobody was home. Yeah, I was just.
3 actors from this film all had official cause of death listed as heart attack. Richard Pryor,
Yeah, Robin Harris. He was like 38, I think, when he died, wasn't he?
Richard Pryor's like
MS related, I'm sure. I'm sure
What is
complications from MS.
When your muscles like deteriorate.
Yeah, it's what Christina Applegate was just diagnosed with.
sclerosis can affect the brain and spinal cord, causing a wider range of potential symptoms, including problems with vision, arm or leg movement, sensation, or balance. It's a lifelong condition that can sometimes cause serious disability, although it can occasionally be mild.
Yeah, so like Selma Blair, Christina Applegate.
Is that most of those kind of diseases genetic, or do they?
They don't know. Yeah.
My aunt has MS.
Yeah, I know an actor who has MS and has had it young too. He's younger than I am, and he's had it for quite a few years.
Aunt Stretch has it. She's still.
Yeah, it's so yeah, it was, and I vaguely remember some of that show between the two of us, because I remember, obviously I know my father and I watched it. I just don't remember much because I don't think it lasted long, because I think he died like I gotta remember. Let me look and see how many.
Well, it started in 91. So when did Red Fox die?
That's what I was about to look up. I'm going to look it up right now and say.
He died in 91. So
It only hit one. I don't even think it made a full a season. Let's see. The Royals. Oh, Kieran Culkin was in along. Oh, you guys I know I'm not going to, no spoilers, but who's caught up on Succession?
Don't.
No spoilers.
Are you caught up all the way right now? My aunt told me you have to watch it. She was flipping out. I got
Yeah.
They made it through 15 episodes, 2 of which were unaired. One,
Because was that right? Did he die on set or have the heart attack on set?
I wasn't looking for that. I was looking to see who.
How long is?
Who saw Michael Buffer?
You know who was?
Oh yeah. He was the ringside announcer, which I thought was interesting that he wasn't. They used him as the ringside announcer and not the. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said they chose to put him next on the ring instead of putting the hat on the hat.
Went back
Planet Fitness.
Is that's not our Planet Fitness, is it?
That's all the Planet Fitness.
Oh no, we see some weird shit at Planet Fitness. Like I always see some weird.
There's one, hang on, look at this. There's just one dude. It's like a dude, like,
We got me and Garrett went there several.
Get ready for hunting.
yeah. There's just one dude that the Planet Fitness I go to, and he just makes sex noises. But he's only there around like 2:00 or something. So like, I gotta come at a different time because this dude he's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. So on October 11, 1991, during a break from rehearsals for the royal family, Fox suffered a heart attack on set. According to Della Reese, Fox was chatting with a reporter from Entertainment Tonight. The scene he was supposed to be in was not ready to shoot, and Fox and Reese were practicing. In fact, Fox had no lines in the scene at all. As Reese said, all he had to do was walk behind the back of my chair. While Fox was giving interviews, one of the producers entered the stage and asked where he was. Reese told him. The producer responded by grabbing Fox and taking him into set, saying if he's supposed to be in the scene, he should be here. Reese said that was another in the long line of disputes Fox had with the producers, including an instance where one claimed he could teach Fox to be funny. I bet you guys $1 that dude was a white. What do you bet? Fox, irate, did his scripted pass. However, he fell to the floor immediately after doing so. Reese said nobody initially suspected anything wrong. Fox, after all, was famous for having Fred Sanford fake heart attacks on Sanford & Son, was particularly skilled at pratfalls. Reese went to the floor when Fox did not immediately rise and heard him say, "Get my wife." Reese twice, yeah. Reese called for paramedics, who initially pronounced Fox dead at the scene. I knew I remembered that right. I was like 4.5 hours after he was admitted he was pronounced dead.
Yeah.
He's buried in Las Vegas.
Like when Young Quick, when he was, Richard Pryor was telling Sugar Ray was talking to him, said the thing to his mom. My mama did.
My daddy did too. Yeah. Yeah. Did you kill him? Yeah, that was great.
He'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kill. Did you kill yourself?
Yeah, Red Fox. I'm telling you, like, if I feel like if you would have got, I don't know who was like a guy that would have been Eddie Murphy's contemporary back then, but if you'd have got a guy, just let Eddie write and direct the story, and then he would have got a guy to play Quick, probably would have been a better movie. It wouldn't have been like, it might not have had the problems that Hannah had with it, right? Like if you would have had somebody that was a little more, a little adept at more of storytelling.
He was not one that he's supposed to be the top.
Yeah.
It was really
A supporting.
It didn't have any. Like she said, it didn't have any play with him. He wasn't engaging, and the way he's like, hey, in a minute he was Eddie Murphy, but not.
But God,
48 hours.
Damn, those suits were nice. God, his suits were so fine.
It wasn't Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy. This was just Eddie Murphy talking.
Yeah.
Didn't have that charisma that he had later on. I don't know what I just didn't. I watched the other one, the Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Della Reese. All of them brought me into the movie better.
Well, that made the movie,
for me.
I think that without them, it's not even anything, right? Like they made the movie, and I think too, like even like she's right. And I was sitting and think about it. You think about they made that cardinal mistake of like writing funny bits and then just like dropping them in piecemeal into different places, but the bits were funny. And then there wasn't, and also like, again, like I go back to some of the stuff, like you taking cheap shots on Della Reese because of her weight. They, even though the black characters never once judge the boxer for his CTE and the stutters and stuff that he has, it was still meant to be part of the joke for the audience.
Pryor went, he goes, you get what I'm saying? He went, yeah, I get it. Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was never.
Right. He wasn't more intelligent type stuff, which I think that like some of the jokes that, I mean, like the fucking bit with the Coke bottle glasses when he puts them on and then he goes, hey, the audience can't see me, but like when he does the thing with his, where he's like looking down the nose and you just see his eyes are like, yeah. And yeah. Yeah. Benny, you blind motherfucker. Benny, you blind motherfucker was like probably one of my favorite. Just, yeah.
Entire ass. So yeah, it was, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. But I think, like I said, for me, it's still, I think the overall thing with this is that it's still a movie about like Black empowerment. And my one kind of beef that I had from they won point of view is that they had to leave Harlem. Yeah. And so they were still forced out. And that was kind of
even when they killed the main,
yeah.
And I guess it was,
cops everybody else. So yeah, be after him and all this stuff. But like, I also love the fact that they did do a good job in the end, kind of hiding the fact that you still think that they didn't get all their money because the two white cops, and he's like, well, you win some and you lose some. And then you see him at the very, very end. But so we had looked up while we were watching, we looked up just to kind of roll back some of the figures we're talking about that these talking about. So when they talk about making $15,000 a week, that is equivalent to $313,000 a day. And when they say they're all going to get $50,000 each, it's $1,044,000. So like they get off with it. So like the $15,000 a week, that's a 300. That's well over $250,000. It's a third of a million, I guess you would say. Like, yeah. Then the 50,000 is $1 million. So you're giving them all $1 million each, and it's still more than $1 million now. Like if you had $1 million now and $1 million then, the $1 million then is worth, even it's just 50,000. The 50,000 still. Oh, yeah.
So that's the thing with looking at. I mean, $50,000 is $1 million now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still hard to get 50,000. Yeah.
It's hard to get $1 million now. Back then, it's hard to get 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
All it is just because of the cost of living and everything else is going up. So it's still tough to get. It doesn't really fucking matter how much it is now. But it's a lot. It's still, to put it in your understanding of right now, $50,000 is a lot.
Yeah, and that was part of the other thing too, of when you look at the way that the entire reason why they went after Sugar Ray was for greed, and the fact that they wouldn't have been so quick to go to war with a white guy that would have had the same place.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Heart is stopping every time.
Is it?
Don't tell him anything about that, because now he's never going to sneeze, and that's actually what's going to cause him to have a fucking heart attack.
I almost sneezed earlier, but I didn't because
and that's what will kill you. You gotta let him out.
Anxiety is just going to creep up now, and that's what's.
So, what was I saying?
Oh, wait. I forget the sneezing.
Yeah, I was in the middle of, oh, wait, hang on. I'm almost there. I was just like, God, you idiot. You were just right. Like 30 seconds ago, they're screaming at me right now what it is that we're talking about. We're all off the train. Oh, money, hard to get. Oh, white guys. Yeah, the whole thing was, there's this underlying theme of that they were just pissed off that these black men were successful, and you hear it. Yeah, and his thing, I'm living in a fucking hovel, like it's,
you don't deserve it.
Yeah, it's all this is just animosity, and that's a prevalent theme throughout history, and the reason why a lot of, famously like Oklahoma City and a few others, Tulsa, thank you. And that wasn't the only one. There were several times where black generational wealth was destroyed from just that animosity of just being pissed off that it was black people that were successful, and they And they weren't. And they,
Greatest lie that we've ever told.
oh yeah, it was 100%. It started back with the sharecropping, and they basically said, oh well, now that we've freed all these people from slavery, we have to pay them now, and so we can't pay you as much because they're forcing us to pay them. So you're gonna have to, if it wasn't for all these freed people, this sharecropping thing would actually work out for you. We'd give you some land, and you'd do great. Like, absolutely. That's all. Yeah, it's like that's the thing of like I go. My daughter, was working for this corporation, and there's these things that she says. I go, yeah, well, welcome to working for a corporation, babe. Like that's how they do you. Like she's, oh, this and blah, blah. And I'm like, welcome to working for a corporation. This is why you want to work for yourself if you can. I mean, like, I sent Terry a thing about the medical shit the other day and hospitals, and he was like 100%. It was a thing of basically like we shit on our employees at all costs for profit. We shit on our employees and our customers, and it's profit among everything else.
Ask the doctors how much of that profit is going to them.
Well, that's what I sent Terry, was this thing about
Going to admin, which is fucking.
Yep. And that's what they were saying. They were like,
everybody run it because that's what it is to them. They don't give a shit about the people.
The thing I sent him was like that they were doing these non-compete clauses, and that they're saying like, well, but shouldn't people be allowed to go elsewhere and like blah, blah, blah and do this? No, because they'll do this. Well, shouldn't we just pay them more money so we can retain them? No, we'll just make them not be able to make money out somewhere else. Like, and they're like stuck here, and we're paying them what we want to pay them, and it's just like,
hire and fire at drill.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. They can just fire you for any reason. Yeah.
You can work for us, work your ass off, and then you give us 2 weeks notice.
Yeah.
But you keep working your ass off. You say something wrong or step out of line, we give you notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give us shit.
So, yeah. Hannah, you want to take us home?
Initial thoughts?
Well, I mean, my initial thoughts were I picked it because I wanted to see it. I knew there were going to be some problems. I was looking forward to seeing them. I was pleasantly surprised, even up into this, even with the problems that you've, helped us kind of see. And what Terry and I think both run parallel with you on a few of those. And a couple of we disagree with just because we're old farts, and but we're it's like it's one of those things where we talk about this sometimes, where sometimes you can suspend, we talk about suspension of disbelief, but also sometimes you can suspend the art from the artist. Sometimes, like sometimes you can't. Like I don't think you'll ever be able to, unless somebody that owns the VHS or DVD tape. Like, I don't think I could ever watch an episode of Bill Cosby Show, but I still crank up Thriller when it comes on. I mean? Like it's those kind of things of like, well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's that separate. So this is one of those movies where I can actually kind of separate some of the problems and still enjoy it. Some of the movies are so bad that we watch, they're like, well, fuck, I can't watch this anymore ever, because this is like, holy shit. Promotes, when you talk about promoting, rape culture and misogyny and all that, some of that stuff that we see that you go, and domestic violence, and you're like, oh, how the fuck was this ever okay? This was not one of those for me. I still like it because there's still so many parts of it that I like. So my initial thoughts were, I knew there was going to be problems, but I still wanted to see it. That was my initial thoughts.
The movie, I always loved it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, and this is a little bit still too much, we didn't mention it earlier. I was going to mention it real quick. When Sugar Ray and this girl was in bed, and she goes, how about we make love all night?
Yeah.
Make love in the morning. And then he goes, how about we make love vigorously for 35 minutes?
Yeah, that's dude.
Minutes, and then we fall into a coma.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's
do you know who his girlfriend was? That was Jenny Willis from the Jeffersons. She was the daughter of Tom, and she was the interracial. She was still fine. Interracial daughter from the Jeffersons is who that was. Yeah. Yep. That's where she's from. Yeah, because I go, God, what is she? And her voice and everything sounded familiar. So I had to go look. Yeah, I had to go look. She was Jenny.
Like you, I knew there was going to be some problem.
Yeah, we knew.
I didn't really the problems in here, but I still love the movie. I'll still watch it every time it comes on. I do agree with Hannah, like Garrett said, there are some.
Yeah, feel.
You did your initial and finals? Like,
Yeah,
So we just don't.
Okay, I got you.
So I here's the thing I think about that when we talk about that thing was like that. What you're talking about with the. Oh shit! I don't even know where I was going.
I forget what we're talking about. I don't remember. What were we talking about again? I forget.
Funny face. Yeah. No wait. Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights.
With an NIGHT. For some reason I keep wanting to put Harlem Nights with a K. It's
Their nights of the round.
Yeah. I keep
it up 6 times.
Yeah, I do too. And I keep going, why is this not pulling up? Why is this not? Yeah. Oh, that's it. I'm looking to. So what were your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts were this is going to be good. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. You already showed me a clip from it and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I liked it. Obviously, touche on all the problems Hannah says because.
That's because Hannah.
Well, because she's right. I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of fucked up.
We still love it.
But it's a bunch of comedians. Fuck, it's funny. I will definitely.
It's a bunch of comedians, and
that helps it a lot. I think. I mean, but
that's true because we know how they talk about
that.
Yeah,
we're not really comedians. Maybe I think I'm funny.
And this is one of the movies I was excited for, and I would watch again. Sometimes I'm excited for it, never watch it again. It checked both.
Your initial thoughts?
Initially, I was like, I had really high hopes for this movie because I saw it was almost all black cast, black writers, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. I was like, oh, this is gonna be really good. It's 3 generations of comedians. You got Della Reese in there. Like, oh, this is gonna be fucking fantastic.
Yeah. What's next?
But I will say I was intrigued also initially at the idea of how much Eddie Murphy brought his family and his family stories into Harlem Nights because the Sugar Ray's was actually a real bar owned by his uncle in Brooklyn.
Wow.
I think his uncle was in. He put his uncle in them.
He did.
Yeah, his uncle was in it and his brother was in it. And what was funny is how they made him because he looked so much like Eddie. They put glasses, the beard, and the thing. I'm sorry, continue.
In a video interview with Crazy Al Kane, I guess, amid some trash talking, Uncle Ray explains how he helped with the concept of the movie and what it did for him. So he owned Sugar Ray's, and so he would tell Eddie stories about Donnie Brasco. And then in 3 weeks, Eddie wrote Harlem Nights, and he's like, that movie was real. That was what really happened back in those days. And he said, I'm proud to say that my nephew has immortalized me between movies and that all of the people that I've met in Hollywood. And he's like, it's the most wonderful thing to happen to somebody from the projects. And then for like the depictions of Harlem itself as a city, I mean, the set designer, Paul, kind of got like famously bashed for having his production design lack glitter.
They do in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it was shot in Los Angeles. The entire film was shot in Los Angeles. But, Larry Paul got a lot of heat for having like Harlem not be the kind of gaudy, like all of these, like the mobster fantasy archetype, right? But it was actually Eddie Murphy's mother, Lillian, who made sure that Harlem was depicted properly. She walked through the set and she actually pulled Larry Paul aside and told him how important it was to her that Harlem be represented as an attractive community. And that Strivers Row was specifically depicted because that was how she wanted it. She wanted to make sure that Harlem was embodied, even if they weren't going to shoot in Harlem. She wanted to make sure that it was depicted accurately. Yeah, because according to her, which, I mean, obviously she grew up in Harlem. She'd be the one to know this. Harlem really didn't start to decay until after World War II. So they needed to have that
Yeah,
presence.
makes
That
sense.
pre-war presence.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting.
It does not pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah, no, it's not a there's not a single conversation between two women in the entire film.
Yeah. Well, and they're used mostly as pawns for
Yeah,
the thing. Is it diverse? Yeah. I mean, can't really.
yeah, yep, definitely diverse.
Are there any problematic characters that need to be changed or removed?
Nope.
Yeah, obviously we talked about the boxer is the one. I mean, I know you have others that you have issues with, and
They're not so much problematic characters. I think there's problematic dialogue.
yeah, Matt, quit playing with your thing.
Sorry.
Well, I can hear him. I can hear him playing with it. I can hear him doing the 5-knuckle shuffle.
It's thinking about you.
He's never going to live that one down.
Nope.
You and John Cena.
Yeah.
Good job, John Cena shirts just have 5-knuckle shuckle.
Shuckle?
Shuckle.
Keep saying shuckle.
Shuckle. 5-knuckle shuckle.
Your shuckles on something I ain't gonna wear.
Those are shekels, I think. Shekels. You're spending the shekels on a shuckle shirt.
You're gonna waste your money.
Any stereotypes?
Oh,
Punchy boxer.
yeah, the punchy boxer. And honestly, like if we're calling it like we see it, the Italian mobsters are very much, and the cops are subs. Yeah, it's very stereotypical. Oh, let me go back. We were talking about the things. That had to be one goddamn heavy ass fucking piano lid to break his hand without him slamming it on it, with him just kicking the thing out and it just slammed. I was like, really?
Lead in it.
That broke your hand? I was like,
Grand pianos.
yeah, but that thing, yeah, I don't think so either. That's how I was like,
His angle, because it, I don't
Yeah.
close on top. Yet it worked.
yeah, is it broken, Joey? Yeah, it's broken.
Is your right hand good?
Yeah, he told me to. He cut his neck. Go ahead. Damn, Tom, they fucked you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see who you fucked over. I want to go ahead and step out.
Would you remake it? And if so, who would you recast?
Never know, not in a minute.
Yeah, no, it's and the fact that these guys aren't around anymore. Like Eddie's the only one left. Yeah,
Again with it, anybody. It's just such a great cast.
yeah. I think you could. I think they should.
Should make a version.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Ed Williams has got to be in it.
Those, like you said, those 3 or 4.
If
they grew
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
so they shared something that
Yeah.
was magic on screen.
again, that of that age too, the ones that performed on the Chitlin circuit have such a different worldview and dynamic that the other ones don't have. Of like you were, this, what's the word I'm looking for? Talented. You're a highly talented individual that has all these talents. You can sing, or you can dance, or you can tell jokes, and you're basically doing it at the, for this audience that could give a shit whether you fucking, they're up there, dance for me, motherfucker kind of shit, right? And like, but like,
You're back.
yeah, but they were doing it because they loved the art of whatever they were doing, and the stuff that they had to put up with to do something that, because they were performing it for audiences that would have soon spit on them outside of the theaters or the whatever, right? Couldn't even stay in hotels and shit like that were like not black owned. And yeah, exactly. So like you think about the shit that they went, and I think that you look at those 3, like Della Reese and Richard Pryor and Red Fox. And then I think back to the stories that Marla Gibbs, when I worked with her, told me about Esther Rawl and her time on the Chitlin circuit as a burlesque dancer. Just like that's the shit they went through. So I think that forged them in a way and informed their camaraderie and everything together. Everything was just, they were, yeah. So they shared something, I think, you can't. Yeah, go ahead. The only thing I was going to say is I think that goes back to the test that you were talking about before. you wouldn't want to remake this movie. You want to find another story to tell, but tell it from the black point of view, and with a cast, and do all the same things that they did that were so progressive with this movie, but do something different that's not historical and that's not a remake of a you couldn't go, oh, let's do Ocean's 8 with a black cast. You could, but and
It would fail that parameter of the test, though.
but exactly, that's the thing, right? So what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think if you were to remake this, you'd have to wait 20 years. Because I just had this thought of like, the reason that I think this movie hits so hard for all of you and it doesn't hit for me is because when you think about the fuck you swagger of the Def Jam generation, in particular the Gen X, that's the part that resonates with you guys.
Yeah.
And the reason that it resonates with you is probably because your parents were of that generation. The reason that it doesn't hit with me is because my parents are of an older generation.
Yeah, true.
So it doesn't hit me the same way because I didn't have that translator and I didn't grow up in the Def Jam era.
Yeah. And
So I think if you try and do a remake of this movie, you have to wait until his generation, the generation that was raised off of Def Jam parents, you get the grandchildren of the Def Jam parents.
yeah, that makes sense.
And then it would hit again.
And it's funny that you say that because I think that part of, and there was a TikTok that Terry and I shared with each other that was basically like, and it was a stitch where there were black people commenting, or we're all nodding heads and agreeing with this one white dude that says, you know why there's no racism in Gen X? And we know there is, but that's not his point. He goes, you know why there's no racism in Gen X? Because we were the first fully desegregated generation. Like, from the time most of us hit school, we went into school with people of color, and we were raised in an era that, like, just like you talked about the Def Jam. So we grew up hearing firsthand black experiences through black comedians who were prevalent during our time growing up. And it was at their, I think, peak part of their comedic movement. For black people were basically kind of having their coming out party and were being accepted.
Too,
that was
the backdrop.
That was my next point, was that we were also raised with, it was the start of the NWA and hardcore rap. And all the white guys we were all into that shit, and we listened to it. And for the first time, there was somebody relating the black experience to us. And even though we can never understand it or know what that's actually like, at least we're able to have some empathy. Right. And it does, I think, inform us and our views on race that are so much more progressive than the generation that was before us, certainly, because we grew up with those people and we know how prevalent racism is. Like, we know, I tell Hannah this all the time of like, I know what the coded language sounds like. I have to find these ways of letting people know that, like, listen, I hear you. I hear your language that you're using. I know what you're trying to say, but I gotta let you know I'm not down with that. I don't speak that. I understand your coded language, but I don't speak it. Yeah, it's like that thing of like, yeah, you're just like, so, but I think it's an excellent point that she says that. And I think that's what helps us kind of like, and movies like this and filmmakers like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and those guys that were,
Well, I mean, how can you hate when your favorite comedian is black?
Yeah.
Favorite actor is black. I love.
Yeah.
How can you just whole culture when?
Well, but they do, man. Because you look at like case in point, Matt and I talk about this. Boston Celtics fans.
Oh yeah,
fucking notorious for being some of the most racist fans in the NBA. Yet they cheer for their entire team, which is composed of black athletes. And actually,
their last championship team was like their starters were, I think they were all five.
Well, so the Celtics were famously the first team to start 5 black men. Really? Red Auerbach, it's basketball, fucker.
One of the greatest sports on this earth.
The Celtics were the first team to put 5 black men on the court, and they had a fucking conniption fit.
Yeah.
So you say that like they don't hate, but they fucking do.
Oh yeah.
That's the problem. They hate, I love you. Here.
For
But it's like that thing of like but you stay in your lane. It's the same thing of like the theme of this movie where it's like, stay in your fucking lane is basically like kind of what they're doing. So like,
They ever use the in.
Oh, but they said fuck 100.
They said 133 times.
they use the hard R word for mental. That's one that we're always on you about.
Oh yeah, well but I'm talking about the N word. I never heard them say that, and I've heard the black actors say it, but the other one they used the J word.
I wouldn't say any of them out loud.
Was like so they used that, and I think Daddy Aiello used a couple, but I never heard. I don't remember hearing the N.
You might be right. Yeah. And listen, it may have been, and I'm sure that was probably a conscious decision on Eddie Murphy's part to be like, you know what, we're going to reclaim this, and I'm not letting any of these white actors say it.
Yeah.
No, I don't like saying it either. I've done that once before. I said, what's the point of saying it? I mean, I've said it because I play a lot of racist white guys, Nazis and shit, but there was one I went, dude, do we really need it? I was like, what's the point of this? He's like, you know what, you're right, we can drop it. I was like, thank God.
I'd hate to get something for like one of my first things and have to.
No, the best is when you have a black director that tells you that you say the word a little too easy and you're just like shitting yourself on camera in set, and you could hear pin drop in the entire fucking set, and then he just bursts out cackling and laughter
I'm fucking with you.
and tells you he's fucking with you. If that doesn't make your inside so I can turn inside out. No, it's not funny. That's what I said too.
Funny.
I was like, that's not even remotely funny, Chief. Like that's now I'm not going to be able to say it ever. I'm going to.
It's in my next scene. I'm not saying it.
Yeah, it's in. You're gonna have to dub this. Yeah, you're gonna dub it. Yeah. Oh God, I can't imagine having to do ADR with that. That'd be terrible. What's next, Sam? I still love the movie. I'm gonna watch it a dozen more times before I die. Or at least pieces of it or whatever. I'll probably introduce my grandkids to it one day.
I'm watching it again.
Hannah? Yeah, we know.
We got it. Picked up on.
That's okay. To each his own. That's right. I'm okay with that.
All right, question of the week.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
If life were a video game, what would some of the cheat codes be?
Oh.
Unlimited money. Is that or
Dev commands, no cost. That'd be one. God, that'd be my other cheat code. That's God. God, no cost, fly. Those are my cheat codes.
One where you can just like move wherever the fuck.
Yeah, that's
I would like tell
God. So it's God, and fly. Those are those two.
Unlimited money.
Yeah, that's no cost. Yeah, that's my no cost cheat because I'm playing a game right now, and those are the cheats. Valhelm. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, God, fly. No, I want it right now. I don't want to wait. I've waited this long. I don't want to wait anymore.
I just have to reinvent myself after every.
What about you, Hannah? What are your cheat codes?
I think those are good ones. I would add in like being able to basically accomplish like whatever you wanted to.
Oh yeah,
Like rolls into like God if it's like
free build like shit basically
yeah, you can like have your own mansion if you want.
Yeah.
You're, like, you could be, like, the biggest
Snap
star
it.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The woman of your dreams fall in love with, like just whatever matter. That
Matt, no, you're gonna pick a new one.
And
I'm picking a new one.
Anna De
Armas.
Yeah, she just did SNL. Love her. She played Marilyn.
I liked her when I saw her in Knives Out. That was the first time I noticed her.
One of those two. But Margot Robbie's married.
Good on you, man. Good on you. Taylor Swift's single now.
She doesn't get me going.
Huh? Yeah.
She I don't see what I mean, she's beautiful, but I just don't see all the hype. Like I'm not. Yeah, we don't like her, do we? We don't.
Oh, he doesn't like the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, fuck him.
Rosario Dawson.
Oh, love her. I would marry her in a heartbeat.
I think she's
Cory Booker. She's dating Cory Booker, or she was. Did they break up?
I was trying to figure out if they were engaged or married yet.
Let's go look. Let's see. Terry doesn't have that hang up. He's like, yeah, she's breaking up with him. The minute I get God power, I'm snapping the fingers and she's
We throwing rocks at everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't own it. I pull out all my God. Right now. I don't have to have God power. Just,
Well, their relationship ended in February of 2022. So
Oh, we are way behind. She's single-ish for now.
You're gonna wish to be hung like Pete Davidson, aren't you?
Pete Davis, I hear, like, I'm not right.
Coke can.
I think I would add unlimited time as well. No, like unlimited hours in the day.
Oh, yeah, you could. Yeah, so I have that cheat code too. You can move time. You just put in the time and you move backwards and forward.
What if you could only pick one though?
Because
That's not the question. But if you don't,
God.
yeah,
God.
Yeah, I mean, God would just do it.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look like Zeus.
Yeah. I'm definitely going into the little thing.
As a sidebar, have you ever looked at the Disney Zeus without a hair or beard?
no.
It's frightening. He looks like a micro penis. That's
All right. Gotta pull this shit.
Always Disney. Oh, Disney got a penis in there somewhere. You can't really say much. You work for Disney.
there you go.
Look at him.
Backspace.
Oh, work for Disney, but I can definitely talk about a penis god. That's a penis god. There you go, right there. That's what if you have a cheat code, that's what you would make your penis look like. Make your penis look like that.
Color.
Yeah.
Same color, golden.
Yeah, when they say, "Ooh, you must have the golden dick," you'd be like, "Yes, I do."
I can make it worse. Hold on.
Oh, and she's gonna make it worse before we go. Hang on.
So yeah, other than that
She's gonna make it worse before we gotta go.
I would, I wouldn't mess with anything. I'd fix a few things.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't clean up some shit, just stuff in the ocean and all that trash. I'd clean up some shit.
Yeah,
This is good.
I'd Thanos that
It
shit.
would just be walk.
I'd snap
My best life
get him right about half. This.
and just get half the population out.
Tell me that doesn't look.
That looks like a 5-knuckle shuffle. Shuckle. That looks like a 5-knuckle shuckle. That is a shuckle. That's what we're gonna call it. That's a shuckle. What is that thing?
A hedgehog that has alopecia.
An alopecia.
Oh, then Will Smith.
Y'all got the
Oh, you take her fucking name out your mouth, boy.
If I get slapped by Will Smith,
He's a big dude, man. Yeah.
You'd eat it, wouldn't you?
No, he probably ate it.
Chris Rock ate it. Really though, like Chris Rock's got a jaw on him. If y'all think about it, and
Yeah.
he really does. He's a fucking champ.
good. He wasn't the guy. I mean, I ain't no tough guy at all. I'm not saying that. But he wouldn't got away with that shit.
Oh, we'd have been scrapping at least. Yeah.
Stage, I'm sorry. I know Chris Rock said he don't fight in front of white people, but I'll be fighting.
That was pretty funny. His bit on it was pretty funny. I was kind of team Will and Adam just because I know what that rage is like, but I didn't laugh and stuff. All right. I think that's do it for that's it. Nothing. You're in the clear.
I think we're what am I going to tell? I tell them. By the time I hit myself in the face with a 20-pound mallet.
Oh yeah. That's a good teaser.
No,
It's a long one.
How are you not a serial killer if the amount of like head trauma?
I've told you I've had about 9. I need one more head injury, and I'm eating meat out of a straw for the rest of my life, probably. You know, the little guy that blows in the thing and his wheelchair goes, that'd be me. Or my eyes.
Hell, for 3CG, I'm Garrett Crudoff.
Matthew Maniscalco.
Anna Kaufman, Jesus Christ.
Tell the story next time, though. I got hit in Six Flags. I got hit in the face with it.
Oh, one of those.
Three Sissies and a Girl is hosted by Garrett Crudoff, Hannah Kaufman, Terry Nelson, and Matthew Maniscalco. The show is produced by Garrett Crudoff and Hannah Kaufman and co-produced by Terry Nelson and Matthew Maniscalco. The show is edited by Garrett Crudoff and post-production is supervised by Hannah Kaufman. Our theme music is by Alexander Rufire and is licensed through Envato.
Hey guys, if you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram at 3CG_pod. That's 3CG_POD. Twitter at TCAAG2 or search for us on Facebook at 3 Sissies and a Girl.
Listener suggestions, questions, and vitriol can be submitted to our socials or via email to 3sissiesandaGirl@gmail.com. That's the number 3, CISSIESANDAGIRL@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to rate and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you like to listen.